Hey guys, welcome back to the Eye on Cricket. I'm here with Adil to discuss the Super 8s, all the matches, most recently the four big matches that took place: Afghanistan versus Australia, then Australia versus India, Afghanistan versus Bangladesh, some big games, West Indies versus South Africa. These were the deciding games, we would believe, that decided the four semi finalists that we are going to see tomorrow: England and India at night, and Afghanistan and South Africa in the morning. But the Super 8s have been really, really interesting, Adil. I think in terms of the pitches also, and also in terms of some of the games, especially the Afghanistan games, which we'll get into in a minute. Let's talk about that first. Afghanistan, the most recent Afghanistan game actually, which was Afghanistan versus Bangladesh, the game that changed the fates of the Afghan people by qualifying them for the top four, and also kicked Australia out of the World Cup. A very, very big game, Adil. What did you think about this game? Because it got really close. Bangladesh almost pulled out a surprise by getting those early wickets and uh, getting those breakthroughs in the middle. It was a very interesting game indeed. What did you think about it?
Yeah, you summed it up, Junior. I mean, uh, let talking about just the last game. So it was the equation was quite straightforward. For Afghanistan, it was just a win that they wanted. For Bangladesh, a bit some numbers were involved. For Australia, yes, they knew their numbers, but they had no control of what is happening. uh, so they just had to stay away and watch what is happening. So Afghanistan, of course, they walked in as favorites, given the fact that they beat Australia in the same venue, even though this venue also favors the Bangladeshi type of playing, because not a very fast wicket, a slow wicket where it assists spinners, not a high scoring game. Teams like Bangladesh, Afghanistan, and even the associates, they love low scoring games. So when a wicket is more towards the low scoring side, it reduces the skill gap, it reduces the gap between teams, and it gives even the less skilled teams a better chance of toppling a better skilled team. So I'm not writing off Afghanistan's win against Australia, saying it was in St. Vincent, but that definitely played a part. Even USA coming close against India, that was in Nivyo. We might not. I mean, I don't think they'll come that close if it was played in a maybe Barbados or somewhere like in Saint Lucia. So definitely the venues played a part. And hats off to Afghanistan, they capitalized on the venue advantage. And walking into this game, they knew bowling. I mean, on that particular venue, if you bowl the team who bowls best can win the game. So they wanted. So in cricket, they generally keep generally tend to do your strength towards the end. So Afghanistan's bowling is strength is their bowling, and the wicket assists bowling. So they won the toss and they had no hesitations. They choose to bat. They said whatever runs that we are going to put on the board, we are going to defend it. And even for Bangladesh, I think apart from the conditions and stuff, I think chasing would have helped their cause, because they will know in how many overs they need to get this total, rather than trying to defend. I mean, that would have helped in the other way, but still, it was nicely poised even after the toss. Both teams had a good chance, and Afghanistan, I think this has been their template since the 2023 World Cup. Bat first, put on a decent score, not like a dominating score, because they know they lack this middle order firepower. So they highly rely on their openers. In the ODI World Cup, they at least had Rahmat Shah and Ashmatullah Shahidi at 3 and 4 to anchor the or to play long innings. But here, once the opening stand is broken, it's like a hit or miss for Afghanistan. So again, the openers batted for 10 overs. Yes, they only scored around 59, 60 around that number, but they laid the foundation for their middle order batters to just go at it, which they tried to do, but most of them were unsuccessful. I think if not for those last three sixes from Rashid Khan towards the end, it would have been really, really tough for Afghanistan. But hats off, they somehow put up 115. And with the rain interruptions, and given Bangladesh, given how fragile Bangladesh batting is, Afghanistan always had a chance of defending it. And talk about Bangladesh batting, man. I, I mean, when you know you have a, shot at at qualifying for the semifinals for the very first time in the history of your in the history, any team, like, forget the skills you have, forget your strengths, anything, you'll just try, right? You'll just try. And so the equation for them was score 115 in 12.1 overs, right? In 12 overs or something, which is less than 10 runs per over. And that is not a daunting task in T20 cricket, irrespective of the conditions, irrespective of how good the bowling attack is. Just go at it. You have 12 overs, you have 10 wickets, just give it a go. I mean, winning this game after the 12th over or in the 15th, 16th over is not going to help you, not going to do you anything good, any good to you. It's just a win at the end of the day, which doesn't matter at all. And they know Afghanistan will be desperate for a win, because that's the only way they can qualify, and they'll not settle to any other result other than rather than winning. So I mean, Bangladesh,
Uh,
they shouldn't have had
yeah,
this thought of just playing safe. They should have always approached it as a 12 over game. But unfortunately, their intent, their approach was the issue. Of course, there were rain interruptions and all those stuff, but intent matters definitely, and approach. Yeah, Junior.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this was a very interesting game, Adil, because it started off really quite well for Afghanistan, considering the pitch. You mentioned correctly that it was a very low scoring pitch. Ramanullah Gurbaz played that kind of anchor role. It's common for Gurbaz to come out and, step out to the fast bowlers and really attack in that power play, but we didn't see as much of that from the two openers this time. Zadran was dropped early, and it was, I think it's a recurring theme. We'll get on to it when we review the other games, but the side that has fielded worse has almost always lost the game, Adil. It
Mm.
has gone beyond batting and bowling, and our coaches in high school cricket always used to say that catches win matches and fielding is as important as the other two. This World Cup and almost all T20 World Cups show
Yeah,
how important fielding really is.
100%.
India won that
100%.
Champions Trophy because of their
Yeah,
fielding, despite having such a young side, and fielding
2013,
is
right?
really important. In this game, I think it was again a fall of two middle orders, but Bangladesh's fall was much, much more rapid and great. Uh, Afghanistan yet again doesn't strike with that middle order. If I want to see Afghanistan, and I do want to see Afghanistan move forward in this World Cup, I think players like Gulbadin Naib really need to strike with the bat as much as they have with the ball.
Yeah.
But also looking at Nabi, I mentioned in the previous episode that we want to see Nabi at number 4, number 5. He was coming at number 7,
Mm.
but at number 5, he didn't really make much of a difference. I had more hopes from Nabi. Having two stalwarts in the middle like that, maybe stalwarts is a bit of a over exaggeration for them, but two
Nabi is
experienced.
definitely a stalwart. Yeah, he has
Yeah,
seen it all
Nabi.
in cricket. Yeah,
Yeah, Nabi for sure. Gulbuddin Naib is also up
yeah,
there, I believe, as in
yeah.
terms of experience.
Experience, correct.
But two of them could have really put up a bigger score for Afghanistan. But thanks to Afghanistan's bowling, I think they won the game, and not just the spinners, which we'll get to in a moment.
Yeah.
What did you think about that middle order collapse? And also, you talked about this a little, but how important was Rashid Khan there at number 7? Yes, with those three sixes. The entire game, Adil, had five sixes, of which three of them came from Rashid Khan's bat. And
And
in what
towards
style,
the
man?
end, yeah, exactly. So, I mean, you could also put put that partly on Bangladesh's bowling towards the end. Most of them were in the slot and pace on, right? So those were the deliveries which Rashid hit for six. So obviously, for Rashid Khan at that point, last two overs, you have only scored how much, just 100 runs. Even you have a good bowling attack, and even you would back your bowling attack to defend 100 runs in this particular wicket, you always would love to, I mean, you always need some, I mean, you always need the psychological advantage of getting past that 120 mark at least, because that's a total where you have scored more than run a ball, which is like the least expectation in T20 cricket, irrespective of how slow or bad the wicket is. So they still fell short by 5 runs despite getting those three sixers. So for Rashid Khan, it was like, obviously, I mean, every Afghani player played that game as if that's the last game in their entire lives, and as if their lives mattered in that game. So that's the passion they bring to the table. I mean, that's so entertaining to watch and so refreshing to watch, uh, and that's what we love to see as neutral fans, especially when it's a neutral game. And that's obviously the only thing that we love to, the main thing that we want to see from the teams that we support for. But when you are a neutral fan, you just need to see both teams fighting it out. And Rashid Khan, he's just how do I say, like, he he's, I think, definitely he walks into any all-time T20 11 easily. Like, he's just a uh, all-time great for sure in
and,
T20 cricket
and
when it
that's
comes to T20 cricket. And yeah,
and that's not just because of his bowling, Adil, but just his
exactly,
general aura
exactly,
and the amount of
yeah,
energy he brings, the
100%,
positivity he
yeah,
brings,
100%, correct,
his leading ability, his
everything,
batting,
the
everything.
entire package, the entire package, correct. It's not just his bowling, for sure, for sure.
Absolutely. And I think it was very interesting to see. I want to delve into this a bit deeper because we'll be talking about Afghanistan again. But what do you think about Afghanistan's fielding, Adil, in this World Cup, and how good that's been?
See, that's that's their belief, right? So look at their batting approach. I mean, they just believe they can defend whatever total they have scored. I mean, you it's completely contrasting to a ideal T20 batting approach. The way they bat, the openers bat for like how many, 10 or 12 overs. They rarely score above a run rate of maybe 7 8. They just make sure they bat the 20 overs, and their middle order, when they have overs, they also bob down a bit and try to play this uh, anchoring roles. But when they have enough wickets, and when they are in just the last few overs, they just go bang bang, they just go mayhem. I mean, it's a hit or miss. So that's the belief that they have. Like, I think uh, their game plan is quite obvious. And if you look at all the games they've played in this World Cup so far, the only game they lost, keeping aside the Uganda and PNG games, the only game they lost against West Indies and India were while chasing. So every time they batted first against like top quality sides, Australia, New Zealand, they put runs on the board, and they made sure they defended it. And if you just look at the New Zealand game where they won,
Mhm.
they didn't put up a big score on the board. It was something around, I guess, 140, 150. Let me just
Yeah,
confirm.
140-ish.
140 is something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So just
Even
trying to
against Australia, 148.
exactly. Yeah, 159 against New Zealand, and it was in Guyana. So they'll be playing in Guyana again against South Africa. Sorry, not Guyana. They're playing in Trinidad. But anyway, even against Australia, it was around 140, 150. So what I'm trying to say is, they just they just know to the core they can defend whatever total they have in hand. So they just back themselves in the field, they back themselves with the ball. They don't care if they get hit for a six or two. They just know they can come back, they can pick the wicket, whatever catch that comes their way, whatever half chance that comes their way. They just believe they'll not flop. And they are just their aura in the field when they come to field, and especially defend totals. I mean, they are just beasts. So the semifinals, if they bat first and put up at least, let's say, 120 or something, despite how good South Africa's batting is in Trinidad, where the average score in this World Cup have been around 120s or something, man, I would definitely back Afghanistan to defend. Um their fielding. So answering your question, their fielding is just more than anything else. It's just belief, and it's just I don't know. They're so confident on the field, be it bowling
Very
or
true.
fielding.
Talking about confidence, that's something that's lacking in Bangladesh's batting in for a long time. It's shocking that they even came close to qualifying for that semi-final. If I'm being honest, because other than Hridoy, no one has really struck in this batting lineup since the beginning of the World Cup. I talked about Litin Das last time and how I really expected more from him. It looks like he delivered, but the rest of the batting lineup failed to support him. He was there, in the 16th over, sweeping Noor Ahmed for boundary, but there was no one on the other hand to really help him out there. Mahmudullah, you look at such experienced players, three ducks, Adil, two golden ducks, Shakib Al Hassan, Mahmudullah, Hridoy in that middle order, and yet there's no one to support Litin Das throughout the innings, and just breakthrough after breakthrough. We talked about how they're confident about being able to defend any sort of total. They've come out within this World Cup winning games of 140, 150 in against some worthy opponents. But when you look at their bowling, you're thinking they can defend any total because of their spin attack. But obviously, Rashid Khan has done well, but it doesn't stop there, Adil, because Naveen ul Haq, the man of the match, was absolutely brilliant in this game. Four wickets and two very crucial wickets, because until that end moment, Afghanistan did not have the game in their hands. Until that very last ball where he got Mustafizur out, it was eight needed of eight, run a ball, and even a tail ender could have easily achieved that, in my opinion. Naveen Ulak really held his own and worked, came out as the winner in this pressure situation. So hats off to him. Naveen Ulak really showed his true colors as a death bowler and why he deserves the spot in that Afghanistan lineup as the lead pacer in that attack. But it's not just him, and we'll go out and talk about the other Afghanistan game now, Afghanistan versus Australia. And even in this game, just gonna go to the second innings real quickly to talk about Gulbadin Naib, another pacer, even though he's a part-time pacer, but once again shows the kind of prowess that the Afghanistan pace attack has come out with a four very crucial wickets. Gulbadin Naib, in the game against Bangladesh, his role was a bit different because he seemed to have faked a hamstring injury in the middle there to stall. Uh, but I mean, he does whatever he has to for Afghanistan to
Yeah,
win, I guess. Whether it's with the
correct.
bat, not too much in this World Cup, but he came out strong with some acting and with the ball as well. But other than Gulbadin Naib, it was also Faruqi. The he got Rohit Sharma out will always stick in Indian fans' memories as a very big scare moment for us. But also that fifer against Uganda was quite respectable, and it showed that he's a really serious left arm pacer to reckon with in that Afghanistan lineup. So the Pacers are definitely not one to mess around with, and that was very clear for the Aussie batsmen in this game, which will be historic for Afghanistan. In the dressing room after this. Rashid Khan said that 23rd October and 23rd June will be two very important dates in Afghan history, and he said that 2023 is a very lucky number for them, and I agree. What did you
Uh,
think about the first innings and Gurbaz coming out yet again as the star batsman? Is this guy uh, the the guy who's keeping this batting lineup together? What's so special about Gurbaz and how he's so consistent for Afghanistan?
Yeah, I mean, before talking about Gurbaz this particular innings and how special he is for Afghanistan, let me just touch upon something that you spoke about, the bowling attack. So I think so. Afghanistan initially came into the international stage in the 2010 T20 World Cup. So since then, whenever they have done well, it was their spinners who shined, right? Even despite maybe one game where they recorded their very first World Cup win back in 2015. That I think that game it was the fast bowlers who shined and some low order batting. But apart from that, if you look at historic Afghanistan wins or landmark wins of Afghanistan, it has been their spinners. So it's like this. There is this stereotype among cricket fans: Afghanistan spin heavy attack, spinners dominate. They win. This win because of their spinners. Just like that, we have in our heads that Pakistan are for fast bowling. Obviously, they've produced fast bowlers since the day they've started playing cricket. So I mean, quality fast bowlers. So, but if you take a look at this Afghanistan lineup, this specific squad, look at their fast bowlers: Naveenul Haq, Fazal Haq Faruqi, Azmatullah Omarzai. All three play in the IPL. And leaving out Azmatullah Omarzai, Naveen and Fazal, they were bought purely for their bowling. Fazal for his new bowling, and Naveen for his death bowling. And even Azmatullah, he did not. I mean, he did not get this IPL gig just for his batting. He impressed. He was so good with the ball in the ODI World Cup in India. Like he could swing the ball, seam the ball. He can use the new ball. Still learning the art of bowling in the death. But he's a deadly new ball bowler, Azmatullah Mirza, and of course a brilliant batsman. So the Afghan fast bowling attack is as good as their spin attack. Of course, they are more experienced. They have Rashid Khan, they have Mohammad Nabi, Noor Ahmad is a young spinner, Mujib unfortunately got injured. So all four of them play in the IPL, and the fast bowlers play in the IPL. So what I'm trying to say is getting a gig in the IPL as a fast bowler is not a is no mean thing or is no small thing, right? Like if a franchisee pick you as a foreign fast bowler to play in one of those four limited foreign slots for your fast bowling, it means you have quality. Like they are quality fast bowlers. So I mean, this Afghan bowling attack is a complete package. I don't see any weak link. They are brilliant with the in the power play. They have Fazal Faruqi. If they want, they can bowl some spin. Nabi can bowl. Mujib is there. Unfortunately, he's injured. Naveen can bowl both in the power play and in the death. They have Azmatullah Murzai to swing, and the middle overs are completely taken care by Rashid Khan and Noor Ahmad. And again, death. Naveenul Haq just bosses the death. Fazal Al Farki is decent in the death, and so they're a complete bowling attack. So I don't. I mean, fast bowlers are as have also like they're not. We can't label them as a spin heavy attack or spin bowling, spin to win team, which used to be the case few years ago, but they are not anymore that team. They are like this beasts when it comes to bowling, and of course they back it up with some brilliant fielding. And coming to your question, Ramanullah Gurbaz and Ibrahim Zadran. Again, look at the fall of wickets. The first wicket falls in the 16th over, and they've only scored 118. So that's around 7 or something of run rate, right? And where did they play this game? They played this in Barbados, if I'm correct. If you scroll a bit up, sorry, my mistake. Not Barbados. St. Vincent again, the same venue where they played Bangladesh. So when the Super 8 fixtures were released, or when the Super 8 fixtures were confirmed, obviously, if you look at the four teams in this group, I mean, anyone would have said, yeah, it's going to be easy for India, Australia. India and Australia are going to qualify. But then some people looked at, obviously everyone thought that and when you and they looked at the schedule, and you see Afghanistan playing Australia in St. Vincent. Okay, then there was some tweets saying, oh, this is going to be an interesting game, Australia playing Afghanistan in St. Vincent, because St. Vincent is not a high scoring game. Yes, it assists both fast bowlers and spinners, but Afghanistan have got the game to defend totals, take game what it takes to defend low totals in St. Vincent, and that will cover up for their weakness, which is middle overs batting and middle order batting. So The toss again was won by Afghanistan. Yeah, sorry. I mean, Australia won the toss, and for them, chasing shouldn't be an issue given how strong their batting is. But they opted to field, which was uh, which was good for Afghanistan's type of play. I don't know why they did so. Maybe Australia had the confidence to chase whatever Afghanistan scores because they know their middle order batting is the issue. And that 15 overs which Gurbaz and Zadran batted, taking the game deep, taking the innings deep. So this is not modern day T20 cricket. This is not typical T20 cricket. I mean, no, I mean, I'm not endorsing this approach of T20 cricket. I'm not even a fan of this approach in T20 cricket, but that's Afghanistan's way of playing. That's how they've won most of the games in this World Cup. And until they have a better middle order, this will be the way they play T20 cricket. So Gurbaz just did what he does best. Scored a 50, strike rate around 120, decent. Zadran run a ball almost 50, and then they've just left 5 overs for the middle order to go do whatever they can, score as much as they can, hit or miss. They ended up with 148, decent enough score. If you take the Bangladesh game, they've left 10 overs for the middle order. They finished at 115 or something. So this is the template Afghanistan plays, right? And of course, as I said before, they back whatever score, they back themselves to defend whatever total they get on the board with the quality bowling attack they have. And their bowling attack is like proper modern day T20, is a proper modern day T20 cricket bowling attack with all the skills. And there is one more thing that I need to highlight: their backroom staff, their planning, the way they plan games, the way they analyze situations, the way they use different resources at particular situations. I mean, it has been top notch. Uh, Credit to Jonathan Trott. Yes, I think you remember 2023 Asia Cup where they miscalculated a net run rate thing against Sri Lanka and ended up not only missing out on qualifying for the next round, they even lost the game. So they did such blunders not long time ago, just last year, and from that to this, they've corrected that mistake. They've come a long way. They are one of the best teams when it comes to planning at the moment. This is something I see as a fan. I'm not sure what the actual work that is put behind the scenes. We don't know, but I'm pretty sure they have some good brains working with data and analytics, supporting Jonathan Trott. And I wouldn't be surprised if they have like really good analysts because DJ Bravo is a modern day coach. Jonathan Trott, you won't see a lot of working with T20 franchises, but I'm pretty sure he embraces this modern day tactics. So that backroom staff relies on, I'm pretty sure they rely on analytics. Their planning is top notch. They know how to use the limited resources Afghanistan have, not in terms of bowling, but in terms of batting. Bowling, I mean, they have resources in abundance, and hats off to them. They've just what do I say? They just cracked the code to perfection, and this is all about, of course, execution starts with planning. You say like well planned is half done or something, or well begun. I don't know. It's just well begun is half done, right? But here it's well planned is like half the job done, and the rest is in the hands of the players to go out and execute it, which they have done to perfection. Yeah.
For sure. And I think when you're talking about Afghanistan's planning, I want to mention Australia's planning. And I think they kind of missed the mark there by giving Stoinis that final over. That was an interesting decision, I think, because I don't think Stoinis should have been given those 2 overs. Maybe the captain himself should have had a little bit of faith after that first Stoinis over to bring himself for another over. Maybe, because Stoinis was maybe too taken aback by his emotion. There was something between him and Gurbaz going on, and he was just balling too much on the slot. One of the most expensive bowlers in the lineup. And I don't think that he was able to do the job for Australia at all. which is why Afghanistan were able to secure that 150 target, 148. Other than that, Aston Agar, some very shocking fielding there. With the ball, he was pretty, very, very economical, brilliant with the ball, actually, when you look at the figures. But the two misfields were just shocking. You don't expect to see that a lot in international cricket. Maybe there was some uneven bounce, but yet again, it shows that fielding can win you games, but it can also lose you games. And that was very clear with the way that Australia fielded. Josh Hazelwood taken to the cleaners when it comes to Australian bowling. He did a brilliant job against India, but
Yeah,
against Afghanistan, he was a bit expensive. Other than that, I think it was a pretty mediocre performance by Afghanistan with the mat. But as we've said, mediocre is all they need with that bowling lineup. Um, Moving on to that second innings where the action really took place for me. Travis Head gone off the third ball. Travis Head is very interesting. We haven't seen much of that consistency from Travis Head. They were expecting Travis Head to essentially win Australia this World Cup, just like he won them the 50 over World Cup. Especially Indian fans have been very, very vocal about Australia losing this game as well. But I think it's interesting to see how this downfall was kind of similar to Bangladesh's, because even in uh, this innings, you saw one player trying to hold the innings together whilst everyone on the other end sort of got out one by one. Glenn Maxwell, again coming into this World Cup, there were different expectations from him. There were expectations for him to fail because he didn't have the best IPL. But he really came into form quick and started performing for Australia. Unfortunately, he didn't find the right match ever in the on the other hand, and got out of a Gulbadi Naib ball, brought a brilliant catch by Noor Ahmed. Again, shows their spirit. But just backing up for a minute there, brilliant captaincy by Rashid Khan, and this is where what you said about planning really is true, and I would like to agree with it, because you see Kharote, the new left arm off spinner, come into the attack, and Maxwell just sweeping him, whether it's log or reverse, taking him to the cleaners, and then Rashid Khan brings himself on, and Maxwell is able to take risks against Rashid Khan too. Hit him for a couple boundaries. And then the thought that comes to Rashid Khan's mind is, why not give Gulbadin Naib an over? Very interesting thought, and it worked out for Afghanistan because the pitch kind of seemed to react to Naib's bowling differently. I don't know, when he hit the surface, the pitch sort of did the work for him. Obviously, that Pat Cummins ball was a smart off cutter by him, but other than that, the way the pitch was going off Gulbadin Naib's ball, it was completely different. I totally didn't expect that from him, but he flexed his muscles plenty that game, and it was very interesting to watch how a part-time bowler, out of everyone in that bowling lineup, a part-time bowler was the clear man of the match. What did you think about that bowling performance from Gulbadin Naib?
horses for courses again. Afghanistan, as I said, using their resources to perfection. So unlike Bangladesh, where you can kind of choke with your quality spinners and good fast bowling, Australia is so many notches ahead of Bangladesh as a batting unit, right? So they are like a quality side. So it's pretty unlikely that you can bundle them out with mainstream bowling. So maybe they thought, okay, yes, I mean they might also have analyzed Australia's previous games that they struggled a bit against Oman. They had like slow bowlers, not very quick. So maybe they analyzed that, and of course the wicket was assisting Gulbuddin Naib. So again, horses for courses, great planning, and Afghanistan, they deserve all credit. And just a word about Australia. I mean, I think it's just an off tournament for them, just like what England had in the last ODI World Cup in India. Uh, yes, they started well. They had a great game against England. It was a good wicket to bat on. They scored 200 and they defended it quite comfortably. And look at that side, man. It's just 11 of like all of them. Each player can win a game for Australia on their day. all of them are match winners, quality players. So I think until this game, Australia were unbeaten, right? And they look quite clinical in all matches. So this game against Afghanistan, they clearly kind of, I can't say misread. They definitely would have put in the same effort and same amount of planning which they usually do in all games. And if Afghanistan are planning to this extent, I'm pretty sure Australia's backroom staff work goes like some some more extra notches ahead of Afghanistan, because they are a very seasoned side. They've won multiple world titles. Uh, so it's just that bad day which any team can have. So I think they this World Cup can be just uh, erased from their memory. But I'm pretty sure with David Warner's retirement, and I'm pretty sure this will be the end of the road for Matthew Wade as well. And that bowling attack won't remain the same for the next T20 World Cup. Most of them are quite aging. We might see one World Cup with all of them together, but since it will be played in India and Australia, we don't know if we'll see the inclusion of a new spinner or someone, maybe someone like Nathan Ellis, given a frontline role. We don't know, but for sure that batting lineup we'll see some changes. David Vaughan obviously retired. It would be most likely the end of the road for Matthew Wade. Marcus Stoinis, he was not given a contract as well, so I'm not sure if he'll continue. Maybe he'll stop playing ODIs and just focus on T20s. I don't know. So
A lot can happen definitely.
yeah, a
And
lot
just
can happen because this is definitely it's going to be a transition period for the Australian
I
T20
don't
side.
yes I
Even
don't think
captaincy,
yes,
I don't know.
correct.
Yeah,
I don't think it's a transition period because of bad performance, because it's definitely not been bad
not because
performance.
bad performance, not because bad performance.
It's just
Even if they had won this
careers.
World Cup,
Yeah, some
yeah, even
careers coming to an end, like you pointed
exactly,
out.
exactly. Even if they had won this World Cup, David Warner would have anyway retired
Yeah,
from international cricket because that was the
and
plan from the beginning.
Matthew Wade's performance has been quite
Yeah,
subpar. Obviously, his age.
with
I
his
think it's
age,
time to see Josh Inglis come up
exactly.
and back in that top order, because at number three, maybe Mitchell Marsh should take a more middle order role, in my opinion. Josh Inglis.
I think Mitchell Marsh might open with Warner retiring. Oh man,
I say
also they have
ideally,
Jake Fraser
yeah,
McGurk.
ideally
Yeah,
take Fraser McGurk deserves
yeah.
this. I
So
know
we don't
it.
know.
Some people might believe it's a bit too early, but
Yeah,
in my
let's say
opinion, he deserved the way he played in the IPL. He deserved
100%,
a place in
100%,
this side as
correct,
well,
100%.
because that was
And
unbelievable. I think we haven't seen that kind of brand of cricket since like the Virender Sehwags and that kind of era. So it's something totally different. It's like a baseball approach, and maybe the Americans would have taken
and
a more fancy to it.
we'll
Because
in the next game that we are going to cover today in this show, we are going to talk such an innings. You know which innings that
yes,
is?
we'll get to that definitely. But
Yeah,
Jake Fraser McGurk, just because of his different striking ability, it's very very baseball like. So I think that's going to be very unique and
interesting.
fun to watch
Correct.
in the international games. He's David Warner's direct protege, and I think it's
Mm.
really cool that David Warner is not leaving the Australian side barehanded. He's giving them this new protege that's as good as Warner, and this really exciting guy who can clear the boundaries very very easily. So it's going to be interesting. This new Australia, this side itself looks so dangerous, Sadil, as you pointed
Of
out, and
course, yeah,
everyone is a match winner.
100%.
You were talking about, I was thinking about this. Even those three pacers, it doesn't feel like you need someone like a Nathan Ellis, because these three have been so consistent and so good for Australia. It's like it's so difficult to rank them. I was trying to see who I'd put above the other, but then Josh Hazelwood comes in and does what he does against India. Uh, in that power play where they went for so many runs, Josh Hazelwood what conceded 4-5 runs. So it was very interesting to see how any one of them can come and give a performance that's absolutely astounding. You can't discredit Mitchell Stark, and you definitely can't discredit Pat Cummins. after taking two hat tricks in this World Cup. So
Yeah,
it's been a good performance, but unfortunate for them because Afghanistan came on top as they deserved, I believe. I think let's move on to the game that we're excited to review. Australia versus India. What a innings! I would say the best innings I've seen in this World Cup. I think that's a fair statement. Uh,
easily. I mean,
Rohit Sharma, 92 of 41 balls, a half century in 19 balls, one of the fastest half centuries in a T20 World Cup. And what an innings! He took Australia to the cleaners, especially Stark and in that power play, he was just looking so deadly at one point. Rohit Sharma, it feels like, as Virat Kohli said correctly, it almost feels like he has 2 seconds more than everyone when he's playing the ball. It's like
correct.
remember that one pull shot he played to one of the pacers, I forgot which one, but he was in position before the ball left the bowler's hand. It's almost as if he knew that ball was coming and he absolutely whacked it over square leg. He just knows, whether it's experience or he's been doing this since very long.
Yeah.
So he knows where the ball is going to come, and he's able to just play the ball so well and time it to perfection. So what an innings, man! What did you think about that innings from Rohit Sharma?
Man, uh, easily one of not one of, like easily the best knock I've seen in a long, long, long time. Easily the best limited overs, like proper counter attacking, modern day T20 knock. Uh, because see, yes, India have been unbeaten, but most of the wickets they've played, except for the Afghanistan game. I mean, even the Afghanistan game, India overall that was like a proper T20 batting effort. That's like the template. That's where I think T20 cricket is heading. Like you keep losing wickets, everyone comes, they keep hitting. Like you score 30, you don't care about your wicket. You just give no value to your wicket. You just keep scoring, scoring, scoring. Yes, there were questions about shot selection, the way Rishabh Pant got out, the way Surya Kumar Yadav got out. There were questions about shot selection, but look at the score they ended up getting. They got 190 with the contributions of everyone. And as I said, T20 cricket.
205, yeah?
No, I mean
They
I'm talking
clocked.
about the Afghanistan game. I'm yet to come to
Okay,
the
okay.
India Australia game. I'm talking about the Afghanistan game. So I mean, everyone just came. They didn't give. They didn't value that. I mean, of course they might have valued the wicket, but they didn't seem like they put a value to a wicket. They just wanted to score off every delivery. They kept losing wickets, but they also kept scoring, and they ended up 190. So I think this is like the proper template of T20 batting going forward. So all it matters is you need to know your resources, and you need to send your batters uh, against the correct matchups, and you need to make sure like you uh, use certain batters in handover play to play handover roles smartly. And finally, it's about what do you call managing the entry points of the batters. Like if it's like the 15th over, there's no point of sending someone like a uh, India. I mean, luckily India doesn't have that kind of batter who you cannot send in the 15th over, but you can always hold the entry point of someone like a Hardik Pandya and not send him a bit early, like hold him back, or like the hope you get the point of the managing entry point. So when you have lost only 3 wickets and you have only 4 overs left, you won't be sending a Sky or someone. You'll be sending a Hardik Pandya or a Akshar Patel, like a finisher. So that's this whole concept of entry point management. So we saw this being used in a very extensive and in a very um, complex, or yeah, in a more analytical way in the IPL, because you have this uh, impact player and you have extra batting, so you have more batting options. So these came into play. Teams, especially teams like teams who won who did well, Rajasthan Royals, Kolkata Knight Riders. You always see them shuffling their batting order. It's not shuffling their batting order. Their approach has been the same since the beginning. They just send. the correct batter who suits to that situation, to that matchup, to that phase of the game, and what is required of their batting lineup at that point. So India, I think they have brought it to this World Cup. I haven't seen that approach from other teams except for Australia in the England game, and England in those must-win games, and probably, I mean, even West Indies, they don't go out and out attacking yet, because they are, I mean, maybe yes, the old West Indies did, but not this West Indies. So let's come to West Indies in the next game when we talk about the next game. But India, of course, obviously they are the team to beat, and given all those, Rohit Sharma, and he's the person who leads this approach. He openly talks about this approach. Soon after the semi-final exit in 2022, came out and said, "See, this approach that we are playing won't help us. We need to be more attacking." And he brought it. He didn't start it with T20s. He started it with ODIs. The way they dominated in the ODI World Cup, the way they played, even in the ODI World Cup final, until Rohit Sharma got out, like he was batting like a madman. He was taking on the Australian bowlers. That wicket just put a break, and I don't know why the rest of the Indian batting lineup uh, didn't follow Rohit Sharma or didn't take that approach. But this T20 World Cup, every single game, every batter who came out to bat have followed it. And Rohit Sharma's this inning was the epitome of that. He didn't care about the opposition, the game, the crew, how crucial this game was. Because if India had lost this game, let's say they got bundled out for about 140 or something, and Australia chased it out in 15, 16 overs, things would have been tough for India, because their net run rate would have taken a serious hit, and things would have been worse for them. But wait, those are things to consider later. You, when you are in the
Yeah, I
game,
think
play the
we were
situation,
talking about
hit the ball.
Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli last couple of games not being able to really come up for India, but they come up in big games as was shown by Rohit Sharma,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that's all we need. We need one of them to perform in the big games from now on. Very big game against England tomorrow, and I hope that Kohli and Rohit Sharma are able to take India till the end, bat till the end, bat
yeah.
those 20 overs.
That will be
Uh,
that will be a very
Almost like
interesting
Gurbaaz
game. Yeah,
has set that standard in terms of openers. He was there till the 16th over in that game against Bangladesh. So it's just a matter of batting as many overs as possible for both of them, because their strike rate is going to be up there. Rohit Sharma for sure, and Virat Kohli, after he's faced 15-20 balls, his eye is in, and he's playing a different level of cricket to those compared to those first 15 to 20 balls that he takes to settle in. So it's going to be very interesting. That middle order has been taking responsibility in this time where Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli haven't been able to perform to their best, which shows a sort of maturity and a sort of trust that can be put in them. They're reliable going into into these last couple of games. And Hardik Pandya has just been consistent in terms of finishing off games for India now in the last couple of games. It's a very good sign for India, considering that Shivam Dubey is still trying to find his touch until now, and he looked very dangerous in this game. I remember thinking that if he could just if
yeah,
they could you know if he could stick till the end of the game, it would have been a completely different total. Like, we might have even crossed 230, because
correct.
Shivam Dubey is that deadly in those last couple overs, but just couldn't survive. It's very common to see him take a lot of balls to settle in, and a lot of those are dot balls. Like, he takes 5 runs in 12 balls, or almost at a below 50 is strike rate at some points. So that's very common. But if he stays till the end, it's a very easy win for his side. So Shivam Dubey, hopefully he strikes in these last couple games, because he hasn't really been able to perform throughout the World Cup. But it was an interesting decision. You talked about India being very smart with the selecting who should go in. I felt like those 5 balls that Jadeja faced could have been different if those 5 balls were faced by Akshar Patel,
Akshar Patel.
because
Yeah, but
he
I
was
think I think yeah, they just back him to finish games. I mean, they pick him because they back him, right? Of course, yes. From our perspective, yes, Jadeja wouldn't have played in my 11 in the last game. I mean, we discussed this before, right? In our 11s, Jadeja was dropped like
yeah,
a couple
a
of
while
games
back.
ago. yeah, a while back. Even Shivam Dubey, right? But
Yeah,
they've not dropped him. They are still backing them. And if you're backing a player, if you're playing a player in the 11, I'm talking from their perspective, the team management, Rahul Dravid, the captain Rohit Sharma, and all. If you pick the player, you have to let them play their role. Yes, it's our opinion that Jadeja should have been dropped, so you should send Akshar Patel ahead of him. But from the management's perspective, they've picked Jadeja. They're backing him. It's not that they don't have a, replacement option in the bench. They have an option.
yeah.
They
And I
still
have to
have.
say,
Yeah,
that's the role that Hardik Pandya brings. You are able to keep a Jadeja in the side because you have that option of
correct.
that sixth bowler. If it was Rinku Singh instead of Hardik Pandya, as a lot of people wanted, including me in the beginning, because of the kind of form that Pandya had in
Yeah,
the IPL, you wouldn't have been able to trust Jadeja as that fifth
correct.
bowler. Maybe if you, especially if you are going into a squad, into a tournament with Kolcha in the squad, you want to see both of them playing uh, at some point. And I really wanted
Mm.
to see both of them bowling in tandem, especially against Pakistan or against England, where they've really shown bright in the past. So it's interesting that they have gone with this combination, this very absurd combination of both Jadeja and Akshar Patel, who have always seemed to be mirror players, like exactly the same skill sets. Exactly, we saw that amazing catch taken by
Oh
Akshar
my God.
Patel.
Yeah,
It's
that's a blinder.
as if they are almost mirror images. The both of
Yeah,
them are from Gujarat. Both of them left arm off
yeah.
spinners, brilliant batsmen, brilliant fielders. So it actually Akshar Patel wasn't picked in the Indian side for so long because Jadeja had
Jadeja.
cemented that role. But now it
Yeah.
seems like Akshar Patel has been too good that they are like, okay, screw it, we'll play both of them.
It's
And
just like
it
that.
worked.
It's just like that now. Jadeja has been playing for India for some time, and of course, at a point, he's going to retire. And you've
Hmm.
got this additional bonus subscription of his services for an extra 5 years in terms of Aksa Patel, who is 5 years younger than Jadeja. So that's like a
Yeah.
additional bonus for India. So brilliant, brilliant player.
For sure. I think it was a very weird combination, but it
Yeah,
definitely gives depth to our batting and doesn't compromise that on our bowling at all. So, a combination that I think they should stick well, and I think they will for the semi final and hopefully the finals as well. Uh, and the second innings of this game was a very desperate attempt. Travis Head finally showed up for Australia as he does against India. When he sees that blue jersey, I think something ticks off in his head. But very scary innings there.
Afghanistan are
Yeah,
also wearing blue, but he didn't turn up on that day, unfortunately.
true, true. Travis Head 76 of 43. He's got this ability to scare Indians to another level. Just some brilliant stroke player. There are very good innings. Unfortunately, no one was able to build a partnership with him. Same goes with Rohit Sharma. Really, like no one was really there throughout, but Rohit Sharma was just on another level in terms of his strike rate and his on the in the flow that he was in. Uh, Travis Head couldn't reach that level, so it was too good of an innings. But Australia came really close for sure. If Stoinis or Tim David had played their role as finishers and could have hit some couple big
Yeah.
sixes, it would have been a totally different story. But yeah, again, I don't think it was gonna be that bad of a game for India going into this game that they would have seen a huge dip in their net run rate or anything like that.
No, I
Uh,
mean, if they had not posted that total that they posted, you never know. Australia would have gone like all would have come all guns blazing, trying to score that in a less number of overs because
for
things like
sure.
that can happen. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think, but India's bowling has been just so delivering for India in every game. You have to give Arshdeep Singh some credit. India lacked a left arm pacer who they could, trust for a
Mm.
very long time in the middle there. And I always used to think that Jaydev Unadkat and Chetan Sakaria, Khalil Ahmed, these were some big names that couldn't really perform for India at the level
Mm.
that Arshdeep has in the last couple years in a T20 level. And I think he's just so reliable, whether it's in the power play or the death overs. He's like the Naveen ul Haq of our side. Maybe it's a bit of an understatement, but
No,
Arshdeep Singh,
Naveen is quality. Naveen is
yeah,
quality,
Naveen
and
is
yeah,
quality, but Arshdeep, I don't know. The fact that he's a left arm pacer also gives him a bit of an edge in my mind because India has lacked that kind of left arm pacer for a while now. and it's really, really good that we finally have someone like him because he's irreplaceable. You know, they picked him
Yeah,
over Siraj.
you can compare him with maybe a Trent Bolt. I don't know.
Yeah, actually,
Maybe
very,
he
very.
has some work to do, but you
But
can.
Trent Bolt in the power play is just another level. Arshdeep Singh is
Yeah,
kind
correct.
touching that level. The way he bowled in this
Yeah,
game as well, the David Warner wicket was very, very commendable. But Trent Bolt in the power play is something else.
he's a beast.
Unfortunately,
He is a beast. Yeah.
New Zealand didn't even qualify for the Super 8s, or else
But yeah,
Trent Bolt would be a big, big, big threat for all the teams. Thankfully, India doesn't have to face that, but people will have to face Arshdeep Singh in that power play and the death.
yeah,
And also, once they get over Arshdeep Singh, they still have Bumrah to face. So that pace attack is looking very, very deadly. Kuldeep Yadav with 2 wickets. I think it was a good bowling attempt, but Australia very commendable by them. Travis Head finally showed up. Unfortunately, they couldn't win the game, but it was a good match to watch.
exactly, 100%. I think Kuldeep Yadav made the difference in the middle. Australia were going so well. At a point I thought, okay, they'll chase this down in about 19 overs or something. But when Kuldeep Yadav came to bowl, he I think he got Mitchell Marsh's wicket in his first or second over, and then since then, even though Glenn Maxwell got going and he scored a few boundaries against Jadeja, I think it was going to be hard for the rest of the batters, including Travis Head, to score runs off Kuldeep Yadav. And Jasprit Bumrah's death overs is a given. It's like death taxes and Jasprit Bumrah's economical death overs. Those are like given. So you should always target the other bowlers because you can't afford to uh, see through two bowlers and target the rest. You can't do that. And even Arshdeep did a great job in the death. So it was too much for Australia. So they had to go after Kuldeep Yadav and Arshdeep, which they tried and eventually ended up giving wickets to them. And Jasprit Bumrah didn't have much to do towards the end. The job was almost done by the time it came to the death, unless some miracle happened. But India's death bowling and even the rest of the bowlers, other than Jasprit Bumrah, are too good to like do something such miraculous. So the moment it touched the moment the required run rate touched 15, 16, the game was gone for Australia.
Yeah, I think that sums up the game well. Moving on to the last game, West Indies versus South Africa. This was the end of West Indies' journey. Unfortunately, I think a lot of Sri Lankan fans had turned their hopes to West Indies after Sri Lanka was
Yeah.
kicked out of the tournament, but they weren't able to qualify for those semi-finals. What did you think about this game in general, Adil? West Indies not being able to put up a very commendable score in the first innings. Uh, what did you think about their approach?
Starting off, so they made quite a few changes. So both their open, I mean, this was a brand new opening combination. Yes, Shai Hope opened against USA in the previous game. They dropped Johnson Charles, Kyle Mayers came in. The rest of the batting order remained the same, but bowling, I think they brought in Obed Mecca, or did he play against USA? Maybe they didn't change the bowling, but at the top, that's a massive change. So this is not the opening pair you started with, and again, Antigua. It was a night game. Uh, South African fast bowlers with the new ball. Yes, they won the toss and opted to bowl first. They knew, like, if they can restrict West Indies to a low enough total, they can back themselves to chase this down because West Indies, uh, especially fast bowling, is not the great. Yes, they'll have to see through the two left arm spinners have been excellent, but they backed themselves, and 135 was not just good enough on the Antigua wicket. I mean, they were definitely 15 to 20 or maybe even 30 runs short on that wicket. And if you just take a look at the scorecard, leaving out Roston Chase 50, even that has come at a rate of around 120. So if he's playing that anchor role, you need to see some cameos of let's say of strike rates around 130, at least 130, 140, 150. So you don't see that cameo except for Russell's 15, which I think came quite late, and Alzari Joseph just hitting 1-6, not enough at the end of the day. Kyle Mayers, I mean, West Indies definitely lost in their batting, and Kyle Mayers again, 35 of 34 is not going to help you against a team like South Africa. And Antigua is not St. Vincent, where the wicket is very tough to bat. Antigua is a decent wicket where it has where you can score runs, and also where there is assistance for the bowlers.
Uh,
So
yeah,
yeah,
Adil, you talked about how this is a new opening combination, but going into this tournament, I expected them to go with this combination because Shai Hope was the highest run scorer in the CPL, and he had performed for Delhi Capitals in some matches as well, where he looked quite dangerous. So Shai Hope definitely. Kyle Mayers was the go-to West Indies opener for a while there in the white ball cricket. So Kyle Mayers was definitely the go-to choice, and CPL performance
but
brought
Kyle
Shai
Mayers
Hope.
was not in the original squad.
Yeah, that was very
Yeah,
interesting because I
he was
expected
not in the
him there.
original squad. Yeah. So yeah,
Brandon
as I
and
said,
Johnson Charles were kind of a shock for me because I didn't really see the West Indies squad going into this tournament, and I thought Kyle Mayers is of course going to be your opening choice.
yeah, but they were successful, right? The King Charles opening pair, they were successful. They won games. They did well. Yes, Charles failed in a few games, but I didn't expect them to drop him in this game. Kyle Mayers just coming into the squad. I thought they'll go with Charles and Shai Hope in this game as well, because they did well in the USA game. Um, and yeah, so this is what unfolded. Unfortunately for
Yeah,
them, this is a
but
great
something
opportunity for them. This
the
World
most
Cup.
disappointing thing for me is has been Nicholas Puran's performance last couple of games. I think Puran just hasn't, in that game against which side was it? I can't recall, but he wasn't able to plan his
England,
innings properly.
yeah,
Yeah, England. He was
the game
simply
they
not
lost.
able to plan his innings, and it was a very poor a strike rate that Puran didn't suit. It didn't suit Puran at all, that kind of innings, and he hasn't been able to hit the mark. Same goes for Powell and Rutherford in this game, and it's exactly what you said. These players, their role is to come out with cameos. When someone like a Roston Chase has done his job at number 4, you want at least one of these three players to
Not
strike.
one. Yeah, I mean, you'll need at least two cameos from the three players: the Roman Powell,
I think
Sheffield Rutherford, and Russell.
Russell can definitely guarantee you a 15-20 run cameo, but people like Rutherford, Powell, Puran, they can hit half centuries in quick succession as they have in the past. So that was the kind of innings that West Indies needed to win this game. The three batsmen scored a combined of 2 runs, so it was very unfortunate. I think that's where they
Right.
lost the game. You're very right in saying that. Other than that, decent bowling performance by South Africa. Obviously, Shamsi dominated the attack, and he was named the man of the match, if I'm not wrong. Uh,
Yeah.
South Africa in the second innings, it shows something interesting, because none of the batsmen really came out on top. But that was okay because the total wasn't that big, and
Yeah.
there was some rain. So
Humid.
it's interesting to see that none of the batsmen have really been consistent, and that's something that's concerning for South Africa going forward in this tournament, Adil, because Quinton de Kock from the beginning wasn't able to strike a lot, but that one innings was brilliant, and after that we thought that okay, Quinton de Kock has come into form and is going to be a big force to reckon with for the semi-finalists. But Riza Hendricks has been poor throughout the tournament.
Mm.
Aiden Markram has been in and out in terms of form, and the middle order also hasn't been very dangerous. They have been mature in multiple occasions, especially in the first half of the tournament,
Yeah. In
in some
Ethiopia.
very poor conditions when the middle
Correct.
order has come in
Yeah.
clutch for South Africa and really won them games. But we haven't seen that kind of prowess that South Africa middle order could uh, should have in terms of when you say their names out loud, you think, okay, big strike rates, big shots, but we haven't seen that yet. Maybe they're saving it for the semifinals, for the finals. And if they do, then that's the perfect story for South Africa, where the middle order was initially very conservative, focused on winning games for South Africa, and later on they won games, but in style. So it'll be an interesting journey for South Africa. I think the middle order has to kind of change their approach going into these into the game with um, going into the game with Afghanistan. Yes,
Afghanistan. Yeah. Yeah,
completely.
yeah. Talking
Uh,
about South Africa's batting, let me just bring up something interesting. So let's take a look at the venues and times they've played their games so far in this World Cup. So all their the first three games they played in New York, and you know the condition of New York. All games are morning games, and let's just keep it aside. You just can't measure how good a batting attack is by their performances in New York. And then their last group game was in Saint Vincent, and that was a night game. Uh, Usually in the Caribbean, it to the wickets tend to be a bit better for batting when it's night game, when the games are played at night. So
True.
if you compare the scores in venues like low scoring venues like Antigua, Guyana, Trinidad, the night games have produced slightly much higher scores compared to the morning games. And okay, so Saint Vincent, yes, they played a night game. That was the first game they played at night in this World Cup, and they just choked against Nepal. So that's like a bad batting performance for sure. And then if you look at the Super Eights, they had one game in Saint Lucia, and both the other games were in Antigua. So these games in Antigua, the first game was a morning game against USA. They just uh, demolished the USA bowlers. They scored 194. That's like the best batting performance to date for them in this World Cup, and that's
Yes.
not in night conditions, morning conditions, but Antigua has been a decent wicket. Uh, I mean, I would rate Saint Lucia and Barbados as the best wickets in this World Cup so far, but Antigua has been decent enough, unlike Guyana, Trinidad, and Saint Vincent. So the next game they played against England in St. Lucia, but it was a morning game. Yes, St. Lucia has been one of the best wickets. Morning, it tends to be a bit tough for the batters, but they scored 160 and they managed to defend that as well. Again, a good performance by South Africa. And then their last game in Antigua, a night game. So they scored 190 in a day game against USA in Antigua. So in a night game, you would back their batters to score better. But the target they had was low. Probably that played a part in their approach towards batting in this wicket. And there was rain on and off. And even if you look at the wicket takers for West Indies, it was not the usual customers. They're two left arm spinners. If you look at the figures of their left arm spinners, they were a bit expensive. Both Moti and both Budakesh Moti and Akil Hussain. But the wicket takers were Russell, Alzari Joseph, and the part-time bowler, or like the fifth, sixth bowler, Roston Chase. So it has been it, it has been like very different. I mean, you can't rationalize South Africa's batting performance in
True.
this World Cup. Like they've performed well in tough conditions, and they've sometimes failed in more favorable conditions. So it's a bit tough to rationalize their batting performances
I think in the last game where Dickok really played well, this is something that he mentioned in the
against
post-match
USA. Yeah,
conference, where he yes, sorry, against USA, where the opposition, he was very crude in talking about how the pitch, the conditions in the West Indies are very different with time. In the day, it's completely different, and in the night, it's completely different. And he was very
correct.
crude in mentioning how the opposition completely forgot that and completely, discredited that. So, which
Yeah,
is why South Africa won the game. It was like he was giving the entirety of the credit for that. So it shows the difference that you're talking about during the night and during the day for pitches like all the pitches in West Indies.
exactly. So what I'm trying to say is, yes, the batting has been like very tough to rationalize, and that also makes tough for us to rationalize South Africa's entire performance in this World Cup. South Africa historically they carry this C word tag, right? Chokers. But most of their wins, like usually the situations where they'll end up losing or where they'll bottling you, where they usually bottle, they won those situations. And
Mm.
even this game against West Indies, like everyone were like, okay, is South Africa going to choke again in as usual? But they somehow held their nerve and they somehow got past the line. And for the first time, they'll start a semi-final as the favorites because they're facing Afghanistan. On paper, you'll any day you'll say South Africa are the favorites against Afghanistan, irrespective of current form, right?
Mm.
Given the quality of their players. But on current form, I'll give both teams an equal chance. And mind you, they're playing a night game in Trinidad. Not the greatest wickets in this World Cup, somewhere around 140, 131, or maybe on 150, 160 would be a good score. So I would say South Africa, if they win the toss, Afghanistan, if they win the toss, they'll definitely opt to bat first. They'll put runs on the board and they'll try to defend, which has been the template for them in this World
Yeah.
Cup. And for South Africa, I think they should not look to chase. They should. Oh, I mean, yes, one thing is they'll have to play against Afghanistan's strength, which is making them bowl first, and also it will also favor South Africa's template in this World Cup, because whenever they've uh, like batted first in night games, they've put up decent enough totals. If you even day games, except for that one game against Nepal, they've managed to put up decent scores and they've managed to defend. So chasing is where they've struggled a bit. So yeah, I mean, just okay. We've just gone to the next segment as a Afghanistan South Africa game. I'll just say whoever wins the toss, bat first, try to put up a decent score and try to defend. And I'll rate both sides. I'll give both sides an equal chance to win the game.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Like, you would think South Africa will be the favorites going into this game, but the way Afghanistan have performed, you can never tell. Same goes for the India England game. That England middle order is looking very dangerous when it comes, especially when it comes to Johnny Bairstow. I think that's one player that India will definitely need to get out going into the game. And I think it's going to be some very interesting battles. It's going to be two very interesting semi-finals. I don't think India should make any changes. What do you think about the game, India versus England? Because you summed up the South Africa versus Afghanistan game quite
Yeah.
well.
It just came to that point where I just had to sum it up because I was just trying to sum up South Africa's campaign so far. It has been very un-South Africa-like, but let's
Yeah.
hope. I mean, let's hope the best team wins. I kind of like want both teams to win in the South Africa Afghanistan game, but that can't happen, right? Only one goes through. So let's see. Let's hope the best team wins. Talking about India England, yes, both teams have performed exceptionally well with the bat. England have had a England had two bad games. They didn't bat well against South Africa. Yes, it was St. Lucia in the morning. It was a bit tough to chase, and South Africa South Africa also didn't bowl that well in that game. But still, England ended up losing. So I would put that as a bad performance from England. And the first game against Australia, where they had to chase 200 plus in Barbados, and Australia defended it well. So that's a 50-50 game where I would give credit to Australia and also put part of the blame to England. So England have had their bad days in this World Cup, and they've also had brilliant performances. But India, it has been more or less a flawless campaign for them up to now. Yes, the Pakistan game was slow, but that was mainly due to the condition of the wicket. Even though the USA game was close, again I'll put that to the wicket. But Super 8s have been like flawless. They were not tested by any team at any point in the Super 8. So India high on confidence. England defending champions, good memories of the last T20 World Cup semi-final where they beat India. But so it all will sum up to playing the condition on the given day. So let's just take a look at where they are playing and when they are playing. So they are playing in Guyana. Again, another wicket, more like the St Vincent wicket, which has not produced good scores, good totals in this World Cup so far. But and also they are playing in the daytime, they are playing in the morning, so it will make it a more kind of a low scoring game, I would say. And when two heavyweight batting lineups are batting uh, on wickets where it has been historically low scoring games, um we I think we might see like a good battle, because the team who manages to score at a better rate would end up winning. But let's also not forget something that I told you before the show. This ground didn't host any Super 8 games. So since the last group stage game it hosted, it has been like, let's hope they've like put the pitch made it flat, watered it well, and they've prepared it well so that we can see at least a 150-160 game on this wicket, despite being Guyana and being a morning game. So it's tough for me to say what the captain who wins the toss should do first. It will depend on their strengths, because the wicket won't change towards the end, because it's a morning game, right? It's not a night game where we can expect the wicket to help the bowlers, or maybe change a bit as the game progresses. But there'll be some assistance for the team bowling first, because of the dampness early in the morning. It starts at 10 or something. There'll be some dampness. It will help the fast bowlers, be it Arshdeep Singh and Jasprit Bumrah, or be it Jofraj and any English fast bowler who Reece Topley, I forgot. Reece Topley and Jofraj. So it will be a very interesting contest. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I have no idea what combinations the two teams will play. Most likely, both teams will go unchanged
Yeah.
because they have two spinners. India has Kuldeep and Akshar Jadeja. Or England are coming with Adi Rashid and Moeen Ali. They have Liam Livingston if they need a third spinner. And also they have a decent enough fast bowling attack with Sam Curran as their third pacer. Even India has Hardik Pandya as their third pacer. So, when bowling wise, pretty much similar sides. Batting wise, pretty much similar. They both teams play a similar brand of cricket. The openers go hard. The middle order is in good form. So yeah, I mean, let's. I mean, I'm expecting a thrilling semi-final game. Hopefully the game goes towards the 40th over. For me, as a neutral fan, a bit biased towards England, to be honest, because that's my second favorite team. But I'm looking forward for a close game, for a game where it goes down to the 40th over. Um, let's see it. We have a good game. Let's
Yeah,
hope
I
we
think
have.
there's some interesting insights to remember. I think there's a prediction of rain in Guyana in the morning. So that is one big thing. It was around 75%, 80% chance of rain. So there's a chance that the game might be washed out, or at least might be interrupted. Definitely going to be damp, as you said. So I think there is no. This is the second semi-final, so there's no reserve day for this game. But if it does get washed out, then India automatically qualify for the final as they've topped their group. So that'll be interesting to see whether it gets washed out or not. Other than that, Guyana conditions in the past it's been a spin friendly wicket if I'm not wrong. So
Yeah.
two bowlers I'm very interested to see from both sides. Adil Rashid has been very consistently good in this World Cup, I believe, in terms of taking wickets and being economical. And Kuldeep Yadav has just been fantastic. You know, he's just played
Yeah.
5 games, I think half the number of games as Adil Rashid. Yeah, England has played 10 games. Yeah, so and he's taken almost the same number of wickets. So it's just fascinating that Kuldeep has just come in and done his job to perfection. When they needed him, he came in and did the job. So it's going to be very very fun to watch in Kuldeep versus England. I think that's a matchup that I always enjoy watching. England have struggled a lot against Kuldeep, and I hope Kuldeep is able to get that big wicket of Johnny Bairstow in the middle, but also the two openers who have been very consistent in this World Cup, Salt and Butler, uh, very good in this World Cup. Other than that, some interesting matchups. Jofra Archer versus Rohit Sharma. Interesting to watch. Jofra Archer
Yeah,
has
I'm more
been.
interested in watching how Rohit Sharma plays Reece Topley, left arm fast bowler with new ball.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, yeah. I mean, left arm fast bowler versus Rohit Sharma is always an
Rohit
interesting
Sharma
matchup.
would love Jofra Archer's pace, and he tends to bowl this shortish length. And Rohit Sharma, given the form he is in, like he sees the ball, he knows where the ball pitches
Yeah,
before the bowler even delivers it. So like
I think
he'll
you're
enjoy
right.
Jofra Archer.
You're right to call it a shortest length because something about Jofra Archer's length that I've noticed is that he likes to aim for that top of the stumps
Top
almost
of the
every
stump.
ball.
Correct.
It's not really short, but it's not a good length ball. Also, it's in the
Good length
middle
ball.
where he goes. Which
Exactly.
is that's one of his USPs. I think his
Exactly.
length is
It
very
can be
good.
intimidating for
Yeah,
certain batters, but I think Rohit Sharma will enjoy it.
yeah, we'll see. I think it'll be a very
Yeah.
fun matchup to watch. Hopefully, Kohli comes up in this game and wins it for India.
But anyway,
Other than that,
it's going to be
as you
a
said,
very
it's
close
a
game.
game. It'll be a close game, definitely. Looking forward to watching the two semi-finals, and we'll be covering them after they take place. So that'll be a fun show. I think we'll see a lot
Yeah.
of interesting innings in these two games. Let's see. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Thanks for joining.